So the thing that we're going to look at today is reflections. And reflections is one of the transformations that actually change the way that the shape is. So when we learn translations, translations took a shape and just moved it left or right and up and down. And now when we're talking about reflections, we're literally reflecting. So the shape is going to stay congruent to its image, but it's going to be in a different position. So when it says, when you read the directions, or sorry, the instructions, the definitions up there, reflection means exactly what it sounds like. It's like when you look in a mirror, it's a reflection. It refers to how a figure looks in a mirror. Fine, good. Remember that if this point is A, when you reflect it, then the next point is A prime. If this is B, then the point is B prime. This particular reflection, the way that you see it right here, is reflecting across a vertical line. So let's talk about specific reflections. The specific reflections that you can look at here is reflecting across the x-axis. So when you reflect across the x-axis, you are the original point and the imaged point, the C prime, is going to be the same distance from the line of reflection, or the x-axis, which means here you went 2 down to get to the line of reflection, so then you go 2 more down to get to the imaged point. Same thing with A to A prime. If A is 1 space from the line of reflection, then A prime is going to be another 1 down from the line of reflection. What you have to remember about reflections is that you're talking about a reflection and its image are always going to be the same distance from their specific line of reflection. Okay, the line of reflection is also going to be the line of symmetry. It's going to be the line at which you could fold the piece of paper and have the shape and its image touch at every single point. Again, these two shapes are congruent, so everything about them are completely identical. Another line that we're going to talk about reflecting across is the y-axis. So whereas the x-axis we were reflecting down or up, with the y-axis we're reflecting across. So A and A prime are the same distance from the y-axis this time, because the y-axis is our line of reflection. You can notice, or you can start noticing, how the points change, how the different coordinates are going to change, and which ones are going to stay the same. If you pause the video and go back and look at the comparison between the point and its imaged point, you can start noticing that certain values stay the same and certain values change depending on your line of reflection. So this tends to be the hardest lines of reflection for people, and I know this graph is a little crowded, but if you look at the red line, this is y equals x. Basically, y equals x is the x and the y coordinates are going to be the same. So this is 1, 1, so 1 equals 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, negative 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 2. If we look at the pinkish purplish shapes, these two shapes are the same distance from the line of reflection. It's just kind of diagonally distant. So we're at the x-axis, we went up, and with the y-axis we went over and then over. With the y equals x line of reflection, you're going to go kind of diagonal boxes. And sometimes your diagonal boxes are going to be like 1 and a little half, and then a half, and then 1. Again, notice the coordinates. Notice how they relate to each other. Notice how the A and the A prime relate, the B and the B prime relate, the C and the C prime relate. And the very last thing that you're going to look at is this black line. We call this y equals negative x. That means that the x value is the opposite of the y value. So the x value here is negative 1, the y value is 1. They are opposites of each other. This line tells us that when we fold on this black line, this black triangle and this purplish triangle, if we folded it on that line, would meet. Just like here, if we folded it on this pinkish line, these two shapes would meet. So if I painted the shape and I folded it, the wet paint would make the shape of this triangle in this specific position when I opened the paper back up. So the 4 lines of reflection that you are responsible for after this lesson is the x-axis, which is y equals 0, the y-axis, which is x equals 0, y equals x, and y equals negative x.